Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Star Report. This is Jason here at New Dimensions, Crystals, and Reiki in downtown Brenham, Texas. And today's report is for January the 8th, 2025 through January the 14th, 2025. And as we look at the sky, we see our nearest star in this star report as the sun. The sun is calm as far as the sun goes. There have been some CMEs released off the backside, but not Earth directed. And the sunspots, which usually cause solar flares, which release CMEs, are dwindling in their complexity, therefore their likelihood to erupt Earth facing. So that is good. There are, or is, there is. There is a coronal hole, which is the dark spots on the sun, which sort of lets you see into the inner sun. They bring with them a plasma stream. There is one that is center disk, Earth facing. So that energy, what you'll be feeling through that is usually a little bit of pressure, a little bit of heaviness. Sometimes you might experience this as fatigue or sluggishness or the ineffectual nature of your efforts. So pay attention to that. Not a big deal. The magnetic lock should be happening today. The stream should be here by Friday, almost a repeat of the energy of last week's sun. If I remember correctly in the star report, in the timing of the plasma stream reaching the Earth. We are currently in the zodiac. Speaking of the sun, the solar zodiac is in Capricorn, and those are going to be affecting your lower back, usually the lower three vertebrae of the sacrum. A lot of times, the nature of how energy flows alchemically through the body and the correspondence to the stars, it relates to the energy flowing in at the top, starting in Aries, ending down here at Capricorn, and then making its ascent back up as it returns the energy from the cosmos, transmuted or expended into the physical form. And contemplates, right? So winter starts to becoming calm, right? So that contemplation of that energy and how that's going to transform us and light us back up to the cosmos is what's going on with Capricorn. We have three retrogrades that are going on. Uranus, which is really about recreating the 3D self, right? This could be physical health. This could be identity. This could be occupation, right? So, who are you in this 3D world? Or more to the point, if we're following the alchemical trail of what that means, with the energy from the cosmos coming down and resting at the base of the spine, what cosmic information are you meant to bring and embody here in the 3D plane? That's the energy of Uranus being retrograde. That should be, I think, till the end of this month. Jupiter is in retrograde. Action, abundance, power, strength. Jupiter's just big, and so it goes along with the retrogrades. It goes along with the coronal hole. It's just sort of a intense energy, which allows, when harnessed, um, strength to be the nature of the self. And then, of course, Mars is in retrograde. And Mars, when in retrograde, is really about our intentions, are creating our reality. So, what would you intend for reality to be? And then, sort of how those work. If you're new to the spiritual path, expecting your intentions to manifest is a good part of how this intention works, right? You can intend all the good things, but if you don't believe they're going to happen, then the universe doesn't believe your intentions are true, right? So it's this whole, if you're positive, negative, or electromagnetic, right? There has to be corresponding attractions, right? So all of that is important, right? And that doesn't mean that if you think it for 30 seconds, it's going to go wrong. But the overall expectation is I intend my life to be like this. I expect that the universe will respond accordingly and positively. And I will look for that to be the case. And when you look for that evidence, right, this is just like we notice sometimes science like that. They go looking for the answer, and lo and behold, they find it. Sometimes that can be, as we see in our modern world, misappropriated. And if we look for sugars, fine for you. And you should put, really sugary, high carbohydrate cereals into people in the mornings, and it'll power them throughout their day. We know that's not true. We know that's probably actually toxic to the body, yada, 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 on and so forth. but just sort of that's the nature of what we look for, we find, right? And a lot of times, if we're going to look for the positive in the universe, we might as well fund it through this cosmic understanding of the soul, and know who's paying for the research, right? Our soul. And then expect that research, as it tells us what we're going to find, is going to find what we're looking for. I think that's a pretty good explanation of intentions. Anyway, yeah, try that one out. That'll be fun. Didn't think I was going to do that. Not in the notes. Anywho, moving right along. Today, Wednesday, the 8th of January, 2025, is the day, at least this month, that the moon is closest all month to Earth. And usually that's a lot more spiritual power, a lot more shadow work, not necessarily shadow work, but hidden things sort of come to light during that. Mercury is sort of aligning its energy with that too, to sort of give you the ability to communicate with deference to the higher good, right? So just like the expectations and the intentions of Mars, right? When you operate the highest likely outcome or the highest likely possibility, right? If you're looking at somebody else's actions or intentions and you assign the highest possible thing, this is a Protestant understanding too. You can sort of see this through the look at me being an expert on the Reformation, through the Reformation, that understanding is, you see the good in the neighbor, right? So this is about love your neighbor as yourself kind of things, right? So this is the expectations that your neighbor has the best intentions, not the worst intentions. And then what happens when you look for what you expect, then you get what you get, right? So then all of a sudden your expectations of having your neighbor have higher intentions, maybe they do. Free will's a thing, sovereignty is a thing, so maybe they can resist your energy, but it becomes harder and harder, and those people become easier and easier to spot that don't, I don't say deserve a space in your life, but are no longer serving the positive vibration and flow of the nature of your soul. Maybe it's time to move on. Yay, January. Thursday, the 9th of January, 2025. The sun's really combining with the energy of Chiron, and Chiron really is about old, I don't call them psychic wounds, but emotional wounds and healing with that stuff, right? So since it's already gone direct, this is really the release of emotional pain, right? So if you've been sort of working through that stuff and some shadow work during January and trying to have a new year, there could be two feelings that could be happening, right? If you haven't been releasing, you could sort of have it all feel like it's coming at once, right? And sort of feel overwhelmed. But if you have been working on stuff like that, you can sort of feel like you're getting on the other side of it. It's kind of like when you're coming out of a cold and all of a sudden you're like, I'm feeling better. I think I could go work out or I could eat the regular foods. This is a spiritual feeling that you've moved past the release and the nastiness of the fuckery of social spiritual trauma. Yeah, good energy on Thursday, I think. Moving right along, Friday the 10th of January 2025, Pluto pre-shadow retro goes in, right? So remember, Pluto moving into Aquarius is that big sort of shift, 1776 stuff, which we're moving in, and this is going to start a 4-month cycle of retrograde. It's also an 11 master day. So energy like this, especially if you're looking at the external world, can sort of look like a realignment of global powers. And this could sort of be foreshadowed or pre-shadowed or likened to the realignment, however absurd it might seem, of at least the North American continent here in the West, with all the talk of unification of Canada and purchase of Greenland and renaming of Gulfs, right? Take that for what you will, believe about the people that are doing it and the possibilities of it really happening, all the things. But if you're looking at an energetic background for this thing to be written on, it is I won't say a perfect story, but it is a likely story of revolution, of change, of dramatic change. And of course, you sort of look at the nature of what that might cost. So they talk about, global trade and all that fun stuff. But the thing that is sort of paying attention, not necessarily the causes of global climate change, but the shifting of the poles is making it less icy up there. And so the nature of those places would change anyway. So maybe people are intending to color our uh, expectations of what it's going to look like when the snow melts. Fun times. Yeah, that's a big Friday. Yeah, so that's Friday the 10th. Moving on to Saturday the 11th, 1/11/2025. That's going to mark 5 weeks into this Mars retrograde that we're in. And remember, Mars is about choice and intention. And really, the energy of Saturday is kind of like a looking at imagine you're a colonist in 1776 and you're like everything's fine, or you're not a colonist, or you're what do they call them, the founding fathers. All those guys were like in their teens and 20s when they were causing revolution. And nonetheless, when you sort of look at that idea of that same sort of energy that's happening, especially with the pre-shadow Pluto retrograde starting on Friday, 5 weeks into Mars retrograde, about choice and intention. It's really about tradition, the way we've always done it, and ascension or evolution into something new, right? That might look brand new, right? It's not a revision of something that already is, it's a creation of something entirely new. Something entirely new is hard to predict and sometimes causes a lot of fear and anxiety. So that might be some energy of the weekend for you. But sort of remember that we transform our realities with our intentions. And that same sort of thing goes along with if what we expect in our neighbor, right? Its highest good, its highest intention, not its basest or worst intention. Like, oh, let me think of this person as a horrible person. Let me think of this intention as the worst possible outcome. Then you start to lend energy to that, not necessarily happening for sure, but definitely raising the possibilities of the negative, right? Rather than expecting the positive. And of course, being wise enough to prepare for maybe I'm wrong, or reading the tea leaves wrong, or the energy is not speaking to me, or my meditation isn't giving me the information I thought it was. All those things. But let's keep our intentions high. How about that? So that's Saturday. Sunday really is more of a break where just the intensity of the sun and the shifting of the cosmos is really calling you to sort of a higher consciousness, right? And that starts to play on all these other things I've been saying about the energy of the week. It's really like not what's wrong with my neighbor or why is my neighbor wrong, but even if my neighbor is wrong, what is their best possible intention kind of stuff. Uh, and then higher consciousness, right? What is the nature of the human soul? Right? If we break with tradition, it might be something greater than we are expecting. It might be something greater than psychology or science or even metaphysics has led us to believe or has discovered yet. So when we sort of look for that kind of energy on Sunday, that is what the sun's doing for us. Leads us into Monday, the 13th of January, 2025. Full moon. Full moon in Leo, right? So Leo is usually associated with solar plexus. And so the full moon, right, which usually grants wisdom, divine feminine, the capacity to sort of contact the beyond or have access to soul level stuff, right, combined with Mars increases the wisdom to act, right? So not only just wisdom of knowing like, oh, that'd be really great, but the wisdom and the power to act as the moon is in an active sort of state, right? Solar plexus controls all of the federation of the organs, right? So all of your organs speak with one another, but they have sort of their own islands made up of their own kind of things. So you want to sort of think of that energy on Monday. And that leads us to Tuesday, last day of the report, which is going to be the 14th of January, 2025. And the inner, the energy of Tuesday is really the release of old lifetimes, or lifetimes are shifting, where you can sort of experience this as the more common thing of, we're shifting timelines, right? And just the nature of reality and how universes work. And, are there parallel exact nows that are all lined up in bubbles that we could access at all times? Nonetheless, you're going to on Tuesday experience the energy of lifetime shifting, right? And so this could be this would be, like a past life regression kind of energy. I just been recently doing some DNA work, trusting the companies with my biological code, to sort of discover for myself that I have a lot more Scottish. You probably look at me like a little leprechaun, especially if you've been in the shop. You sort of see me kind of tiny. Irish is obviously there. German it is my practiced heritage. Being a Lutheran pastor, makes sense. But I discovered a lot of Scottish lineage, right? And so that alignment of lifetimes, right? So we get to sort of the idea of uh, in my mind, the idea of like King Arthur and all that kind of stuff, and Merlin or Merdin is the magic people were called, right? And you sort of trace the lore of Merlin, who definitely had Irish roots, but probably when you sort of trace it, might have come from the forests of Scotland. In the Highlands and the Highlander and all that fun stuff. If you've on my personal Facebook page, you've probably seen me talking about Highlander. There can be only one. I'm Conor McLeod of the Cam McLeod. Actually, in the cousinhood of checking out that part of the Scottish line, there is a cousin, last name McLeod, but Duncan, like the TV series Highlander. So yeah, just some sort of cool stuff, right? The releasing of lifetimes, right? Who do we think we are? What have we been? And it could be not just releasing like in a letting go, but it could be the unleashing of lifetimes, right? So that we can call on the ancient magic of understandings of our own humanity and divinity, and the magical powers which those once upon a time wielded on the face of the planet can be here again, right? And therefore, if we are becoming more magical in these lifetimes, are realigning and timelines are shifting, then that Mars intention of intending and expecting the good to happen, or the power of divinity to rule over the power of fear, maybe that is a good energy for Tuesday. That feels like a soapbox, but I don't care. It's been a good report. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, share with your friends. And of course, we'll see you back here next week, next Wednesday. I'm going to look for the little button to hit stop on the recording. And until next week, everybody, many blessings.